Start. Good morning, everyone. This is again your my economics video, and this time we are just going to start with the national income unit. And before we move to the national income, I'm just introducing you with the macroeconomics, the concept of macroeconomics. Now, everybody is aware of the economics two part, that is micro as well as macro. So, a bit of description about the macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is defined as a branch of economics which studies with economic issues or economic problems at the level of economy as a whole. That means it is concerned with the economy as a whole or a large segment. Now, the economics, that the basic difference between the two branches, that is micro and macroeconomics, that we're going to study in detail. Now, the basic differences is on the basis of these criteria we have differentiated the micro and the macroeconomics. The first criteria is the basis of the study. Of course, everybody knows that microeconomics studies the problem of scarcity and choice all at the level of an individual person or a household or a firm or an industry. On the other hand, if we see that in macroeconomics, that studies the problem of scarcity and choice at the level of economy as a whole. Moving towards the next, that is the next criteria is economic variables. Now the variables, microeconomics uses micro variables like consumer demand or producer supply, etc. On the other hand, macro variable uses the variables like they are using demand, but that is aggregate demand. They are using supply, but that is aggregate supply. They are not concerned with the individual producer or consumer. We moving to the next is your economic agent. If we're talking about the economic agent, that refers to the individual and institutions who take economic decisions. So the microeconomics, of course, an individual economic agents take the decisions like consumers and producers. On the other hand, if you're talking about the macroeconomics, here the decisions that are taken by the macro level, that means institutional agents are playing the role. For example, RBI and all. So these are at the country level. The decision making authorities are also at the country level. Next is your degree of aggregations. Macroeconomics studies the equilibrium at an industry. It is an aggregation of all the firms producing a particular commodity. So here we are studying the aggregation, but the aggregation is of all the firms of a particular commodity. It is not the aggregation of all the firms in the country. It is of a particular commodity, that commodity and the firms, all the firms included in it. But on the other hand, if we take the aggregation of the macroeconomics, it of all economics, here the economic units of in the economy, we are aggregating all the economic units. We are not concerned with a particular product. So aggregation level is also different. Here the aggregation is of the particular commodity. Here the aggregation is all of all the economic units. Are moving towards the next criteria is a different sets of assumptions. Now, of course, the microeconomics assumes different things and different assumptions are taken. For example, total output and employment are taken as constant, while these are important variables in macroeconomics. And on the other hand, if we see that macroeconomics, distribution of output and income is taken as constant, while that is important in the microeconomics. So of course, what is applicable, what is being taken as constant, what is as being assumed in microeconomics, that is not assumed in the macroeconomics. So both the things are assuming different things. Both the branches are assuming different things as constant. Next is your central issue. Central issue is allocation of resources. Here the microeconomics basically deals with the allocation of resources. Individual person is concerned about the resources and the problem is of allocation of resources. But on the other hand, if we see, the central issue is determination of overall level of output. Here the issues is more, they are revolving around the determination of overall level of output in the economy. Then next is your method of studying. Of course, microeconomics is a partial equilibrium analysis. We are finding the equilibrium in consumers, in the producers concept, but that is partial. We are taking only one part, one section, one point of equilibrium. But if we take it on the macroeconomics, here the general equilibrium analysis is taken. That is equilibrium in the whole economy.